Now, before I start this video, I'm just going to tell you, you guys know how every video I've done so far was SpongeBob success, right? Well, I'm going to change that right now by making this video SpongeBob failure. And this video is not just one failure, not two, not three, not four, not five, not six, not seven, not eight, and not nine. It's 10 failures. They have much more. I'll tell you a few honorable mentions too. But I'll be telling you my top 10 least favorite SpongeBob episodes. I don't know how anyone could like any of these episodes. So we could begin with number 10. So let's do this. Okay, well number 10 is yours, mine, and mine. There are people that I know that had this as the worst episode, and I could totally understand that. Especially because that ending at the end was terrible. Like, the only reason this is all the way at number 10 is there's some episodes that frustrated me more. And SpongeBob did get a toy at the end. But that last quote from Patrick ruined it. Patrick used to be my favorite character, I'm telling you. He was better than SpongeBob, better than Squidward, better than Sandy, better than Plankton, better than Mr. Krabs, better than Pearl, better than every character. By far, too. But now he's probably one of the worst characters. All combined, he's my third because he was so good back in the day. But now he sucks. So he's my third. My favorite character is Gary, and my second is Squidward. So that's why yours, mine, and mine makes it to number 10. So let's see what number 9 will be. Number 9 is Good Neighbors. Good Neighbors is a terrible episode. I don't know how people could enjoy this episode. No one did, actually. I actually heard that this was the exact day that SpongeBob went downhill. May 20th, 2004 or 5, I think. And I did not like this episode. It was Squidward torture porn, which, trust me, have been happening a lot. And I don't like that. They need to stop it. Like in Naughty Nautical Neighbors, it was funny because he tried making like SpongeBob and Patrick not friends. And jellyfishing, it worked much better than this. Even though it wasn't my favorite episode, I don't even think it was the best, even in the top 20 for best season 1 SpongeBob episodes. It was still much better than this episode. And they tried doing it again, but failing even more miserably. So that's why it's number 9. What will get number 8? Number 8 is Cephalopods Lodge. This is very similar to Good Neighbors. I think Cephalopods Lodge is a little bit worse just because it frustrates me a little bit more, because the way SpongeBob and Patrick like don't care is very annoying and very frustrating too. This episode could easily be someone's number 1. I don't think I've seen anyone have it number 1. By the way, I think doing top 10 worst episodes is more interesting than doing top 10 best, because there's some people that think one episode, others. So I'll tell you how many people I've heard said each one. I don't think anyone I've said Boating Buddies, which is number 7. Number 7 is Boating Buddies, which I do know some people actually said. I just got confused. Boating Buddies is even worse with SpongeBob. I'm sorry to say this, but SpongeBob, he was acting gay in this episode. I didn't want to say it, but he was. Like that glare, he's like, and he touches Squidward, and it's messed up. And Squidward had no fault in this episode. I'm this person, like, I love being with other people, but sometimes I just want to break. Sometimes I just want to be by myself, just for a little bit. Like, I'm making this video by myself right now as we speak, just because it's more peaceful. And Squidward just made me know what it's like when it gets all ruined. So that's why it's at number 7. So, and I'm wearing the color red, by the way, for how much I don't like this. So anyway, who will get number 6? Okay, number 6 is Little Yellow Book. I know people have had this as number 1, and I could totally understand that. No characters were likable, except for maybe SpongeBob. Squidward was probably not the most, like, annoying. Probably Patrick and the townspeople. But Squidward was not that nice either. Like, I could understand if he's curious, but it was still bad. They could have made an episode where Squidward was just, like, wanted to see and tried to see what the book was all about. Like the Idiot Box, or kind of like even Squid's Day Off. Both of those episodes were great episodes, and they succeeded at doing something like this. So, I definitely don't recommend watching this episode if you haven't, thank you for not taking the risk. Please don't take it. Okay, number 5 is a Squidward torture porn, but it's not torturing Squidward, but it's torturing the audience. Okay, Number 5 is Squid's Visit. Now this episode, SpongeBob proves to all of us that he is a psychopath. He sneaked into Squidward's house enough times to know every teensy detail, which is disturbing. And SpongeBob said Squidward never been to his house. Yes, he has. I can't exactly think about an episode right now, but he had definitely been in SpongeBob's house. And they never talked on the telephone? That is not true. How about, what was that episode called? I don't think Squidward was talking to him, but he almost talked to him on Jellyfish Jam. And there were many other episodes, like when they're at the Krusty Krab or something like that. Sorry about that. And they have, but it's just so pathetic how the writers can't even think of a way to say the truth. Well, hopefully the next episode I'll tell you will be better. Okay, number 4, this episode Patrick wasn't likable, but he could have been worse, I admit. But this episode still isn't good, and that is Stuck in the Ringer. I wasn't sure if I was going to put this on the list at first, but I started rewatching it a little, and I started to really hate it after a few more times watching it. This episode was horrible. They could have made the ending SpongeBob getting it off like he did, throwing it up, and only landing on Patrick, and Patrick putting the forever glue on himself. But instead it had to land on both of them. And Patrick was acting like a jerk the whole time, not caring about SpongeBob, and the townspeople they didn't know anything, so they were just being mean to SpongeBob for something that was definitely Patrick's fault. And Patrick's like, thinking he's like a little baby, making people think he's sorry. He's not sorry. He became sorry at the end, but that's not the same kind of like way. Like, he didn't really mean it. He just wanted SpongeBob back. He didn't care if the ringer was on him. He just wanted SpongeBob outside or something. So this episode is very frustrating. But there are still 3 more episodes that... Okay, this number 3 actually didn't think I would even put in the top 10 or my honorable mentions. I didn't like it. But as I started rewatching it, I started getting more and more frustrated at this episode. Now, some people expected this on this list, but I don't think they expected it at number 3. My number 3 is Slide Whistle Stooges. At first, I didn't really care about the episode. I didn't excruciatingly hate it, but I didn't really care about it. But then I watched it again. I didn't like it. I hated it more, and I hated it more, and I hated it more, and I hated it more. Then at the end, when they're just like blowing the whistle and people are in pain, while the other people are like on surgery, they're laughing, and it's not funny. This episode just proves that SpongeBob is trash, and Patrick is not much better in this episode either. And poor Squidward, he just gets so annoyed and frustrated, he cracks and just goes insane. So, yeah. If you don't think it's horrible, I can understand, because I didn't right away. But I hate this episode. And I don't understand how you could like it. But number 2, this episode actually I think most people think is number 1. But there's one other one. It just annoys me a teensy bit. No, not a teensy bit. Much more, actually. Number 2 is One Course Meal. AKA Plankton Gets Served, or Got Served. Oh, suicide jokes. Mr. Krabs acting at the end, so Mr. Krabs not really scared of those clowns or whatever they are. SpongeBob not letting Plankton win. SpongeBob sucking at continuity again by making Plankton never interacting with Pearl, even though he have. Oh my gosh, it sucks. I think this is Mr. Mysterious Center's least favorite episode. I'm not sure, but he acted like it was his least favorite episode. By the way, quick thing. I actually take away Slide Whistle Stooges from number 3. My number 3 was actually tied from Slide Whistle Stooges, because I'm not using script. I'm just thinking off my head. And, what's it called? Pet Sitter Pat. And you guys know why Pet Sitter Pat. But anyway, back to it. This episode sucks. Plankton has a suicide joke. SpongeBob says, it would be against my good nature. So, He goes like this, and he's acting really stupid and annoying. So then he goes to Mr. Krabs, and this is one of the worst parts of the episode. He tells Mr. Krabs that about Plankton, and Mr. Krabs just laughs, says, "He's a mess," and then draws a picture of Plankton and then erases it. This is why Mr. Krabs is my least favorite character to sew. Before he was fine, but now we already know that he doesn't like money. You don't need to keep sewing us. Anyway, time for some honorable mention. The Splinter, what's it called? Demolition Doofus, which I think is also one of Mr. Enter's least favorite episode. That's mainly it. There's a lot, but I can't think out of my head. And I'll just tell you one more that I could think of that I hate. And I can't think of any more. Well, that's mainly it. So, anyway, time for number 1. Some people might have been expecting this. Some people might have not. But number 1 is a pal for Gary. Just kidding. Number 1 is fun. No, just kidding. It was a pal for Gary. A pal for Gary is my number 1 because I hate this episode. It's very annoying, very frustrating. SpongeBob's line where Gary's about to get eaten is like, "Gary, put Puffy Fluffy down. Put Puffy Fluffy down." I want Puffy Fluffy to just shoot him. Puffy Fluffy did get SpongeBob, and he wasn't blaming Puffy Fluffy. And when Gary saves his life, he says, "Gary, what do you have to say for yourself?" Shut up, SpongeBob. No one likes you anymore. What's the point of making yourself more unlikable? And yeah. If you have seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, don't watch the episode. So anyway, that's my top 10 least favorite SpongeBob episodes. So please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow. Bye, guys.